Okay, so what we're looking at now are some partner exercises. These are simple things you can do with your group that basically require no equipment, but they're pretty effective exercises. Now we're going to be looking at 4 of them. The first one we're going to be looking at is the bicep curl, which only requires a towel. We're going to be looking at the hamstring curl. We're also going to be looking at a row variation. And on top of that, the tricep extension. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the bicep curl. Now, like I said, with this one you simply require a towel to use, and it's a really good variation to get a good workout through your arms and your biceps specifically. Now, the person standing is the person who's predominantly doing the work in this case. However, the person who's on the ground holding the bottom end of that towel, they also get some resisted work throughout the movement, working on their core as well. So as one person's trying to curl the towel up, they're trying to resist the exercise down, which does create a bit of core work. And again, it's important for the person who's resisting the movement not to be too heavy or too light. If you go too heavy and it doesn't go anywhere, the movement doesn't go anywhere, it sort of ruins the purpose. And similarly, if you go too light in the movement, there's no challenge for the person. So let's have a look what this looks like. So what we can see throughout this movement is I'm working on the bicep curl and Jono's resisting by keeping his weight down. What's important is he allows me to keep moving through the movement. And you can see here, it really does provide a really solid workout for my arms, and I'm working hard. So the next one we're going to move on to now is the hamstring curl. This one is probably my favorite in regards to the body weight exercises here, or the partner exercises, just because it's so very effective and it's very difficult to get that sort of curling action when it comes to like body weight movements or even weighted movements when you're at the, when you're doing an outdoor boot camp. The only sort of bit of equipment that really works well for it is the suspension trainer, but this is really a great alternative. As you can see, it doesn't require any equipment and it is much harder than it looks. You'll see when we play the video of this one, how hard I'm working as Jono resists the movement. It's important, again, for this one more than any, to really, for the person resisting the movement, to allow that movement to happen. If you're too heavy, the person's not going to go anywhere. And also, if you're too light, again, you're not really getting any workout as well. Now, the best thing about this is it gives you that opportunity, or even all of these ones, basically, they allow you to play with eccentrics. So what I mean by that is the person resisting the movement can really control how long we're working through the range of motion. So Jono here, as he's pulling down, he can control that for a 3-second pull down while I'm contracting as hard as possible. Or conversely, even going through the concentric phase, Jono can control how long I'm going to work through that by providing the accurate amount of resistance. For hamstrings particularly, that eccentric phase, so coming back down, is very important when it comes to like prehab or rehab from like a hamstring injury. So it's very good for anyone who's involved in any sort of sports activities, whether it be football clubs or anything like that. These sort of eccentric exercises with the hamstrings are really important. So let's have a look how it works. So as you can see here, Jono is simply resisting as I curl up, and then he's pulling me down as I'm trying to resist on that eccentric phase. You can see here by the twitching of all my muscles how hard I am working through this movement. The hamstring curl is extremely difficult, and it's important to allow the person to work through that range of motion. What we're going to look at now is the row variation. Now again, no equipment required. It's similar to the bicep curl in that it can work for both participants. One, obviously the row, so through the lats and the back muscles, and the other a little bit through the core in the way they're resisting the movement. Now with this one, the person on the ground can almost be as heavy as possible, because when you're rowing, you've got a lot more power and a lot more leverage. So the person on the ground actually has to provide a fair bit of resistance for this movement. And again, it's a good way for someone to start working on some heavier row alternatives without needing the heavier bit of equipment. We all know what it's like when you're using, let's say you've got 5 kilo dumbbells. For someone working a 5 kilo dumbbell row, it's not a very effective exercise. This, you can actually work up to a much heavier weight or much heavier resistance without having to bring any equipment. Let's have a look at it. So as you can see here with the row, Jono's working through that row while I'm resisting him. And you can see there, I'm making it a little bit harder for him as he goes through it again. Again, working both people, but predominantly the person standing is working through the row variation. A great option as well to add to boot camp. The last variation we're going to look at now is the tricep extension. Yet again, another one that requires no equipment. And again, it's another one that is harder than it looks because the person over the top has all the leverage there as well. So they can really put their weight down and make this a very difficult movement. Yet again, this is another one of those that's very important for that person who's providing that resistance, that they allow the movement to flow. Because if they put all their body weight there and it's just completely stalled, it's not going anywhere. Yet again, this allows you to work a little bit through those concentric and eccentric phases by saying, let's work on 3 seconds down and 3 seconds back up. And that person resisting the movement is able to control that with the amount of resistance that they're providing. Let's have a look what it looks like. So here we are again, Jono's providing that resistance. You can see on my face and through my legs how much I'm straining through this movement. And you can see for Jono, it's pretty easy there. He can provide more resistance by just getting more body weight over the top and make this movement far harder. But like I said, it's important for him to allow me to work through the range of motion.
Okay, guys, so that was it for our partner exercises. So we went through the bicep curl, a really challenging one for obviously the biceps, just using a towel. We've got the hamstring curl, which is that great exercise for like prehab, rehab. It is much tougher than it looks. We've got the row, a great option if you want to add some extra weight for any rowing variations. And then finally, the tricep extension, similar to the row as well. A great option if you want to, get away from using those couple of kilo dumbbells for the tricep extensions. This way you can load it a lot more. Now with all of these movements, it's really cool because you can control both those concentric and eccentric phases with that varied load. And there's not many, there's no other real ways you can do that on a boot camp outdoor setting. So they are our 4 key partner exercises: the bicep curl, the hamstring curl, the row, and the tricep extension. Thanks for watching, guys.